Good day, artists. We are going to continue with our 1-point interior perspective. If you are interested in floors, right, I'm going to show you first how to do a square tile floor, and then I will continue showing you how to do a wood floor, how to make a carpet for the floor, things like that. So I'm going to make my wood floor. I'm going to make this room the wood floor. So I am actually going to redraw these lines. We're going to pretend that, that there's no wood floor in here. Okay, we could put wood floor in here, but I'm just going to show you how to do it on this floor. So, I'm going to start out with a tile floor. So in order to do the tile floor, sometimes what I like to do, if you plan ahead, this works out really nicely. So that's about 4.5 inches. So I am going to mark this off at 1/2 inches. Just make some little marks here on that back edge where the floor meets the wall, right there like that, and then right there. Okay, so now when we make our lines, because we want to make it look like it's coming toward us, we are going to line up all these little dots we made, and we are going to draw our lines like this. Notice they look bigger up here than they do down here. That's because things that are farther away appear to become smaller. All right, all our little lines right here. And when we make the horizontal cross piece lines, again, because they look as if they are getting smaller the farther away they go, they're not going to be an equal distance apart. So there's a method for this, a mathematical method, but for our purposes, I think I'm going to make the ones that are closest to us the largest ones, but I don't want them to be rectangular. Like, so the one here, like probably wouldn't do it that way. It wouldn't be that long. So I'm gonna line it up right here. I'm gonna make my cross line. Now, when I make my next line, the space should be just slightly smaller than this one. If you want to, you can kind of estimate it, kind of bring it back down like that, and line it up so it's parallel to the, oh, that was not, there we go. Okay. Right. And then again, you can kind of measure it with your pencil, bring it down a smidge, line it up like that to the side of the paper, just like this. Now these look super long, but that's just, that's the perspective. So don't worry about that. Kind of go with the ones in the middle. So there, bring it back a smidge. Let's see, I'm gonna bring it in just a little bit more. And then this one, let's see, that would be right here. So we're just gonna bring it in a little bit like this. Looks like they had to trim those tiles when they got to the wall over there. So, all right, so then you have a room that has tiles. You could either, you could color every other tile. You could add decorative things to the tiles, but that's basically kind of how it goes. You just want to make sure that the lines that are coming towards you are going to the vanishing point. These lines stay horizontal when you're on the floor or the ceiling. If you're going to make a light fixture on the ceiling, depending on what kind of light fixture you were planning to make, let me see if I can do a round one. I'm just going to make myself a little guideline here, very lightly. And maybe like this. Okay, so if I wanted to make a light, that was like, the kind we have in our classroom where it's just kind of in the ceiling, I could just make it like that. That's what it would look like. But if I wanted to make a light that was kind of, maybe like one of those little oval lights, right? I might curve this, but this is going to follow those edges. So it's going to look a little more tippy on the left-hand side. And then if we were going to put one of those little buttons on there, where you kind of screw the light shade onto the light, it's going to appear to be a little farther down. Okay, it's going to look more like that. A little bit more like that. That's a very large light. So that's kind of how that goes, right, with the floor. But I did also want to show you, I have some little examples here. I said I would show you what a wood floor would look like. And it's the same kind of concept. Sometimes instead of measuring with my ruler, I'll just make a mark in the middle. I'll make a mark in the middle of those and maybe another mark in the middle of those. And that kind of ensures that you have somewhat evenly spaced marks. So we're going to do the very same thing that we did with the tile. Ooh, those are some wide boards. And we're going to make our lines. Ooh, those are some real wide boards. But you know what? You could always put extra marks in between, but for this, I just want to show you how it works. I've also put the vanishing points in different places for these examples, so you can kind of see how your placement of the vanishing point changes how the room looks. This one looks real weird because you're like right up against the wall. Okay, so for the wood floors, most wood floors are kind of staggered, you know, like Legos. So maybe 1, 2, well, actually, let me do it with a ruler. That's going to be easier. Okay, line it up. So I'm going to leave 2 boards in between each line. And then maybe I scoot it back and I do this line. 1, 2, right here. 1, 2, and then right here. So you're going to kind of want to stagger those board lines. This one doesn't have a line yet, so this one will go here. 1, 2 over here. 1, 2 over here. And then you would just kind of continue that. So you're going to say, okay, well, this board is probably going to be about this long, right? So I'm going to turn it around just to make it easier for me to see. So this board is going to be here. It's going to stop right here. So 1, 2, I can't see it. It's off the page. 1, 2, this board's going to stop here. This board, yeah, we're not going to be able to see much of the other boards, to be honest. That one, this one would be next. So anyway, you can kind of, right? They don't have to be perfectly lined up perfect. But anyway, so then that kind of gives you that look of, and you can kind of, you know, you can put some lines on here, little knots in the wood if you wanted to, just to kind of give it a little texture, right? And make your wood floor, boop, look very woody. Now let's talk about carpets. Okay, if I wanted to put a rug in this room, if it was a square rug, then I would decide where the rug is going to begin, draw my line, and of course the sides of the rug going to the vanishing point. I could take it right off the page if I wanted to, but I'm going to end the rug. So now you see the rug is kind of coming towards you in 1 point perspective, just like so. Okay, ooh, just like that. So that's kind of how a rug would look in the room. If you wanted a rug that was round, what you're going to do is this. You're going to go ahead. These are going to be guidelines, so you're going to erase them later, so don't make them too dark. So we're going to mark the top and the bottom. We are going to kind of draw our lines from the vanishing point. So this is kind of the same way it would be if it were a rectangular rug. But what happens is, if it's a round rug, okay, we're going to kind of find the middles of those lines, and then we're going to create a curve. Try to make kind of an even curve. Oy. This one's going to be tricky, I think. Ugh. Let's see. Hang on. That one looks a little sloppy. And this one's going to come like that. So it's kind of, it's still wider. It's still wider as it gets towards us. kind of like that. So it's going to widen out here. This part's kind of the same because it's pretty flat. Kind of like that. And then we would erase our lines. And then, you know, if you wanted to make it look like one of those rag rugs, you could kind of, right, give it a little spiral. Oop. So now you have a little rug right there in the middle of the room. Another thing I was going to show you, I'm going to show you on the wall right over here, is that if you have lettering, like for instance, if you have a poster, let's just say we have a big poster right here. Oop. Okay. Just like the window, we are going to, just like that. So there's our poster, but let's just say that this poster has lettering. The lettering is also going to follow this rule. I'm going to draw a guideline. I'm going to draw a guideline. And let's just say that the word that we're trying to draw is art. So when we do this, right, the letter is going to come from the bottom to the top. Oh, and actually, any cross pieces are also going to follow that. Right, so the letters themselves are going to remain vertical. The vertical lines are, but actually that's not true. There we go. Okay, so the lettering is also going to appear to get larger the closer it gets to you. Kind of like that. So it's going to flare a little bit as it comes towards you. And that is how you would figure out how your letters are supposed to look from the vanishing point. All right, so I think that's enough for you to get started, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with.